The Alberta government has quietly appointed a new deputy minister in the Office of Climate Change, and you're probably thinking to yourself, what's new, Sheila? Look, I know, the NDP's entire job creation strategy amounts to hiring highly paid bureaucrats to plum government jobs, and this time would be no different. But I'll tell you why you should care. Eric Denhoff was just appointed to be the deputy minister responsible for the Climate Change Office. Now, that office falls under the control of the Ministry of Parks, Environment and Climate Change under Minister Shannon Phillips. Denhoff is the CEO of a green energy firm, because of course he is, and he's from BC, like they all are. But when I read the press release about his appointment, I realized I had seen that name before, Eric Denhoff. Now, I had seen it when I was researching my story about the Alberta government's new caribou strategy. Eric Denhoff was the mediator hired just a few months ago to come up with the Alberta government's strategy to cope with declining caribou populations. And that strategy left northern Alberta municipalities in serious limbo. Denhoff's recommendations that the ministry he's now working for fully accepted, said that an additional 1.8 million hectares of land had to be protected as caribou range. Now, that might seem like a good idea on its face. The caribou are threatened and we don't want them to die off, right? Wrong. The caribou just ended up being an excuse to chase away development because, as it turns out, a lot of the new land that is being protected is prime for oil and gas development, and the government's own information reveals that the land being protected is not at all essential to the caribou. Denhoff protected the land that the caribou didn't use, but the oil companies do, as a political statement. It's not part of the traditional range of the woodland caribou. The caribou were just an excuse. There is only one reason to protect land the caribou don't use. It's a feel-good front to outlaw resource development and jobs. That's all. And the caribou communities of Alberta are worried about what this means for jobs in their towns. They don't know what, if any, logging, farming, or oil and gas development they can do in these newly protected areas. The towns say they weren't consulted at all, and the person who should have consulted with them was Eric Denhoff. The towns who are most affected by Denhoff's recommendations are complaining about the quality of job he did as a negotiator. But no matter, the NDP got what they wanted, and Denhoff was basically on a job interview with the NDP the whole time, just like Heather Boyd was. And for his good service to the NDP for protecting and restricting land important to oil and gas and not the caribou, Eric Denhoff got a fancy new job managing the Office of Climate Change. Or maybe it's just a coincidence and it really is just a small world after all, right? The NDP job creation strategy is all about rewarding activists from BC for hurting Alberta jobs. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.